I'm having a hard time getting my wife pregnant. So 6 weeks after my brother starts staying with us on the couch because he's having a tough time finding a job, my wife gets pregnant. She comes to me and says, "Hey babe, I'm pregnant." But it makes me wonder. That one time I came home late from work and I saw them in a weird cuddled up position drinking a bottle of wine while watching some Netflix documentary. It makes me wonder, is that my baby or is it my brother's? I let my brother crash on our couch for a week after his breakup. 3 months later, my wife's pregnant and he's moved across town. He's telling people she was the one that got away. I'm just now realizing I might not be the father. I don't even know how to start this. My hands are literally shaking as I type. Never thought that I'd be one of those guys posting their life disaster on the internet, but here we are. I just need someone, anyone, to tell me if I'm losing my mind or if my suspicions are justified. Sorry in advance for the length and probably a terrible formatting. I'm typing this on my phone in my car because I cannot be in my house right now. I'm 34 and male. I've been married to my wife, we'll call her Ellie, 32 female, for just over 5 years. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but nothing catastrophic. We both wanted kids eventually, but agreed to wait until we were more financially stable. I'm a project manager at a construction company, and Ellie works in marketing. We bought our house 2 years ago, nothing fancy, but it's ours, you know. My brother Jake has always been the wild child of the family. Dropped out of college, bounces between jobs, serial dater. I love him, but he's never really grown up. Our parents still bail him out financially sometimes, which drives me insane. But what's another story? Ellie and Jake have always had this weird energy between them. Nothing I could ever put my finger on exactly, just little things. She would laugh a bit too hard at his jokes. He'd find reasons to drop by when I wasn't home. They text occasionally, which I never thought much about until now. At family gatherings, they would somehow always end up in the same conversation group. But I genuinely never worried about it because 1, I trusted my wife completely, and 2, Jake may be immature, but he never crossed a boundary with his brother's wife. Right? Back in January, Jake went through a bad breakup with his girlfriend of almost a year, his longest relationship to date. He showed up at our door at like 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, drunk and crying, saying Amy kicked him out and he had nowhere else to go. His apartment lease was up at the end of the month anyways, and he claimed that he was going to propose to her, so he had not renewed it. I don't know if I believe that part now, but whatever. I told him he could crash on our couch for a few days until he figured things out. Ellie was weirdly enthusiastic about it. She immediately made up the couch with our good sheets and even put out guest towels. She kept saying stuff like, "Stay as long as you need," which annoyed me because we have not discussed it. But it was late, he was my brother, and I figured a week tops. That week turned into almost 3. Jake would be gone all day apartment hunting, but never seemed to find anything. He and Ellie started cooking dinner together most nights because I was working late on a big project. I would come home to them laughing in the kitchen with music playing and a bottle of wine popped open. Nothing inappropriate, but just, comfortable. Too comfortable. The thing is, during this time, Ellie and I were barely intimate. She said that she felt weird with Jake here, even though he was on the couch and our bedroom is upstairs. I didn't push it because I was exhausted from work anywho. There was this one night that kept replaying in my head. I came home early around 7 instead of my usual 9 and found them sitting super close on the couch watching some documentary about serial killers. They both have this weird true crime obsession. They jumped when I opened the door and Jake immediately stood up and said that he was heading out to meet some friends. Ellie was flushed and said she didn't expect me home so early. Nothing happened, I guess, but the vibe was just off. Finally, after 19 days, yes, I counted, Jake announced that he found an apartment across town. I helped him move his stuff that weekend, and everything went back to normal. Ellie and I started having coitus again. Life moved on. Fast forward to last month, Ellie tells me she's pregnant. I was shocked but happy. We were not really actively trying, but we were not super careful either. She seemed thrilled, started planning the nursery immediately. Downloaded all those little pregnancy apps, the whole thing. I've never seen her excited about anything. Then last weekend, we were at my parents' house for my dad's birthday. Jake was there with his new girlfriend. He moves on quick. He got pretty drunk and pulled me aside at one point and said something like, "You're a lucky man, bro. Ellie's really something. That one that got away, you know." I laughed it off, thinking he was just being weird and drunk. But on the drive home, Ellie mentioned that Jake had texted her a few times recently to check in. I asked to see the text messages, which I've literally never done before, and she gets super defensive. Said I was being controlling and didn't trust her. We had our first major fight in years. When we got home, I couldn't sleep. I got up and checked her phone while she was passed out. I know, invasion of privacy, heard it all before, but something just felt wrong. The texts with Jake were not explicitly incriminating, but definitely inappropriate. Lots of inside jokes, him saying he missed her cooking, her sending him links to those true crime shows they both enjoy. The most recent one from him, sent at 1 a.m. last Tuesday, says, "Been thinking about that week a lot. Should have told you how I felt sooner." She responded with just, "We can't talk about this. I'm happy with where I'm at now." My brain is now putting together a timeline I don't want to face. Jake stayed with us in January. It's now April. Ellie is 11 weeks pregnant. The math works in the worst possible way. I haven't confronted her yet. I went to work this morning like everything was normal, but I've been sitting in my car at a park for the last 3 hours just trying to breathe. I don't know what to do. If I ask her directly, she'll just deny it even if it is true. If I confront Jake, I don't know if he'll tell me the truth either. And if my suspicions are right, is this baby even mine? I'm lost. Absolutely lost. What would you do in my shoes? How do I even begin to handle this? Update number 1, it's been almost 2 weeks. First, I want to thank everybody who's commented so far. I read every single response, even though I could not bring myself to reply to most of them. Some of you called me an idiot for not seeing the signs earlier. Fair enough. Others told me to just walk away without a word. That's not really my style, but I get it. This has been the worst 2 weeks of my life, but I figured I owed you all an update since so many people reached out. After posting, I stayed at a Motel 6 for 2 nights, just to clear my head. Ellie kept calling and texting, asking where I was, saying she was worried, and I told her I need space to think about some work stuff, which was obviously a lie. On the 3rd day, I finally went home, planning to confront her calmly. That plan went out the window the second I walked in. She was sitting on the couch crying, with my brother's jacket next to her. Apparently he came over when she could not reach me because she was, quote, concerned about my mental health. How convenient. I completely lost it. I'm not proud of this. But I start yelling, asking how long they've been doing this behind my back. She looked genuinely shocked and then angry, and then she starts to cry. Harder. She denied everything, said I'm being paranoid and crazy, and she showed me her phone and text messages that Jake and I have not even seen, where she was telling him not to come over anymore, that it was not appropriate. Here's where things get a lot more complicated. In the middle of our shouting match, I demanded a paternity test. She gets really quiet and says, "Fine, get one, but not because I cheated on you with your brother, because I'm done trying to prove my loyalty to you." I didn't know what to make of that, but I was still furious. I grabbed some more clothes and went back to the Motel 6. That night, Jake calls me up 6 times. I ignored every one of them until he texted saying, quote, "This isn't what you think. Please let me explain, brother." I agreed to meet him in person at the bar the next day. Part of me wanted to punch him in the face, but I needed answers more than revenge. When I got there, Jake looked awful, had not shaved, dark circles under his eyes. He ordered us both beers and then just stared at us for a long time before speaking. What he told me made everything both better and worse. He admitted, okay, he has feelings for Ellie for years. Even before we got married, he even acted on them because, in his words, "You're my brother, and I'm not that much of an a-hole to do it." But during these 3 weeks staying with us, those feelings got stronger. The night that I came home early and caught them on the couch, they apparently had a moment. Right before I arrived, Not physical, but emotional. He told her how he felt, she told him it could never happen and that he needed to find his own place immediately. According to Jake, nothing physical ever happened between the two, but he's been struggling with these feelings since moving out, hence the drunk comment at Dad's birthday and the late-night text. He swore on our parents' life that he would never sleep with my wife, and that he was trying to get over her by dating someone new. I didn't know whether to believe him. It sounded plausible, but also convenient. I asked why Ellie got so defensive about her phone then. He said he didn't know, but suggested maybe she was embarrassed about the whole situation. After that conversation, I went to my parents' house instead of the motel. I could not afford to keep paying for a room anyways. I didn't tell them exactly what was going on, just that Ellie and I were having problems and I needed space. My mother, of course, immediately took Ellie's side without even knowing the details. Oh, marriage is about working through difficulties. I just nodded and tried not to scream. 4 days after talking with Jake, Ellie shows up at my parents' house. She was clearly showing, now, and a small but definite lump. She asked if we could talk privately, and my mother practically shoved me out the door. We sat in the car and she handed me an envelope. Inside was a paternity test that she'd arranged on her own. One of those non-invasive blood testing that's safe during pregnancy, and guys, the results showed a 99.999 probability that I'm the dad. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt nothing, empty, because even if she didn't physically cheat, something happened between them. Some lines were crossed. She admitted that Jake had confessed his feelings and that she had been flattered and confused in the same moment, but she'd immediately shut that down. Did you have feelings for him too? No hesitation before saying, no. It told me everything I needed to know. We've been in this weird limbo ever since. I've moved back home because it's my house too, and I'm sleeping in the guest bedroom. We're starting couples counseling next week, and my parents think everything is just fine. Jake has been texting both of us separately, trying to mend fences, and his new girlfriend already broke up with him, probably sensing his emotional unavailability. Meanwhile, Ellie's pregnancy is progressing, and she's having morning sickness and weird cravings. She leaves prenatal vitamin bottles on my nightstand as some kind of peace offering. The nursery is half painted in a neutral green because we don't know the sex yet. I'm going through the motions, but I feel like I'm watching someone else's life. The paternity test should have fixed everything, but it did not. I still don't know if I can trust her. Or my brother, or my own judgment. The most twisted part, now that I know that the baby is mine, I feel responsible for trying to make this work. If it wasn't my kid, I think I would have already filed for divorce. But now, there's this innocent third person coming into the world who deserves a stable home. I don't know what I'm asking for anymore. Validation, advice, a time machine. I'm trying to forgive, but I don't know if I can forget. Every time she texts now, I wonder who she's really chatting with. Every time she says that she's going to bed early because she's tired, I wonder if she's actually texting my brother from under the covers. The counselor we're going to has good reviews. People say that she's saved marriages on the brink, and you know what? I guess we'll see if ours is salvageable or not. Okay, guys, I need to know your opinion. Do you think that this was enough emotional cheating to make OP say, you know what? I don't care if the baby's 99.9% mine. I'm not going to stay with you in this relationship because it's obvious that you're too emotionally cheating on me. Or do you think that OP is blowing this out of proportion? I do want to check out one comment. It comes from Life Truth Psycho. This was posted 18 hours ago, and since then, it's gotten a lot of attention. It says, holy crap, dude. I rarely comment on these posts, but I'm genuinely flabbergasted at your willingness to set yourself on fire to keep everyone else warm. Let's be real here. I'm going to break it down. Your wife and brother had a minimum an emotional affair right under your nose. In your own home while you were busting your butt at work to support the two of them? The nothing physical happened line is oldest one in the book. The fact that both their stories line up so perfectly should be setting off alarm bells. They've clearly coordinated what to tell you. And the paternity test that she arranged on her own, come on. Convenient timing, don't you think? Have you actually verified those test results, or did you just look at a piece of paper she handed you? I'm not saying that she faked it, but I've seen crazier things on the internet. Even if the baby is yours and they never physically cheated, which I seriously doubt, the foundation of trust is completely shattered. Your wife hesitated when you asked if she had feelings for your brother. Hesitated! That's the answer right there, man. You're setting yourself up for a lifetime of paranoia and resentment if you stay. Every time she's on the phone, every time she's working late, every family gathering with your brother, you'll be back in the car having a panic attack wondering. And for what? Because family? Because your mom thinks you should work it out? Because you feel obligated to the unborn child? Come on, kids aren't stupid. They can sense when their parents are together out of obligation rather than love and respect. You deserve better than this halfway reconciliation where nobody has actually taken responsibility for betraying you. Your brother's still playing the victim with his broken heart, and your wife is acting like you're the problem for being suspicious. Ask yourself this. If your best friend told you this exact story, what would you tell him to do? Guys, I have to know your thought on that comment. It got a lot of attention and it leaves the question in the air, what does OP do? Drop your comments down below. Let's discuss them. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you want 2 stories every single day on this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and look for this logo right here on the screen. That's how you know I'm narrating the video. I'll see you tomorrow, and of course remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.